The Trans Pennine Trail is a coast-to-coast adventure that takes riders across the width of northern England, from the Irish Sea to the North Sea. It varies massively from cities and towns to rural farm tracks, and from windy peaks and exposed moorlands to the flattest of countryside. It's an incredible route, and it's one that I've tackled before. But there's one problem with the Trans Pennine Trail. If you actually look at the map, there are several stretches where if you were doing the coast-to-coast route, you'd never even see. There are a couple of spurs that are just dead ends.
And that's why I'm here in Chesterfield to start the two secret sections of the Trans Pennine Trail. I'm going to be riding 60 miles up to Leeds, and then tomorrow I'm heading up to York on the Solar System Way. This is RSPB Dearne Valley, and this is where the Trans Pennine Trail splits. So I'm about to tackle a bit that I've never done before. Normally, if you're heading out to the coast, you'd be going that way, where that chap's going now. I've just come from this section here, from Sheffield, but I'm going underneath that tunnel now to Wakefield and then on to Leeds. I'm a few miles from Wakefield now. I'm about 12 miles from Leeds. I haven't actually got accommodation booked tonight. I was planning on just rocking up and hoping that a Premier Inn would have me somewhere. But out of the blue, I've just had a phone call from my mother-in-law, who has suggested I go and stay over there because it's free, and I'm only like 3 miles away from there now, so I've taken her up on the offer. I'm going to change the plan slightly, so I won't go all the way into Leeds, annoyingly, but that's one for another day. But I am still going to do the section up to York tomorrow, so stay tuned. Right, I'm ready for bed. It has been a long day today. In fact, today has been the longest day I have done in the saddle in 2024. I've done just shy of 70 miles and my legs are feeling it, I'll be honest with you. I have also been cycling every day this year in memory of my granddad, who sadly passed away earlier this year. He had Alzheimer's disease, so I'm raising money for Alzheimer's Research UK. If you want to sponsor me or read more about it, I'll leave a link in the description for that. However, I have been sent something very interesting. This is a mini massage gun from Bob and Brad. It is mini. It fits, basically it's the size of my hand, and it's not heavy at all. So you can take it bikepacking, which was the main reason I was interested in this. I do get offered quite a lot of stuff now. This channel is getting quite big, and most of it is stuff I'm not really bothered about. However, I wanted to give this a go because I'm cycling every day this year and doing these bikepacking trips as well alongside the charity riding. I knew from experience that my legs were going to get sore, and it is challenging nowadays, especially having a 1-year-old at home, to find the time to stretch and to look after myself. So I thought I'll give it a whirl, and I'll be brutally honest, I was blown away by how good this is. It's USB-C rechargeable, so I thought I can take it on my bikepacking trips and give it a go. I brought it with me today. It's been in my panniers all day. I've been carrying it, hardly noticed it. And at the end of the day, I've just been using it to loosen up my IT bands, especially because that's where I tend to get a bit of pain, and the back of my calves. So although I was a little bit skeptical and I thought these were a little bit gimmicky, I have been proven wrong. So I think in future, if I'm going to be doing long distance bikepacking trips, like 80 to 100 miles a day, like I did at the North Coast 500, I will definitely take this with me just to help ease my legs and give me a bit of relief, especially if I'm camping, so that I can get a good night's sleep and hit the road the next day feeling refreshed. I thought I'd give them a quick shout out for sending me the product, and I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested. Thank you very much for watching my film. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Any questions, stick them in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So I caught the train to Chesterfield and I started my route following the Trans Pennine Trail up to Sheffield. This is the bit that I'd never done before, although I have done the Trans Pennine Trail from coast to coast a couple of years ago. I'll leave a link up there if you haven't seen it already, or in the description. This was a bit that I hadn't done before. There's a few sections, like I mentioned, that are kind of dead ends. You just won't see if you're doing the coast to coast. Unless you happen to live near there, you're not going to know about them. This bit in particular was really nice. You follow the canal through Staveley up to sort of the border of Sheffield and Rother Valley Country Park. It's a really family-friendly part of the route. It's completely traffic-free, it's flat as well, and there's lots of nice things to see. So it's a really enjoyable part. There's also a really cool cafe about halfway along this route when you're following the canal. It's a really great place to stop, especially if you've got kids or you're doing this as a family. It's really lovely. There's a couple of locks as well, so you get to watch some barges come past. All in all, it's a really nice section of the route. I cycled through Rother Valley Park before rejoining the coast-to-coast route around Meadowhall near Sheffield, and from there you can head up through lovely little villages like Elsica, where there's another railway, so quite a lot of this is traffic-free. From there you go to Dearne Valley, and that's where the route splits, like I mentioned when I was doing the piece to camera. You can choose to go to the coast back to Sheffield, or like I did, take a little detour via Wakefield and up to Leeds. From this point you do join a few country parks, which is really nice, and again most of this section is traffic free. I headed up to near Wakefield via little towns like Royston through Anglers Country Park, and it was very quiet. Although it's a really popular route in the summertime for families and dog walkers and people doing the coast to coast, when I did it, because it was sort of early spring, it wasn't that busy at all, so I had the vast majority of the time the trail to myself, which was super. It was a little bit muddy in places though, given the time of year that I went. You won't be able to do this on a road bike. I mean, you could, but you'd probably end up with a puncture or some sort of mechanical. I was running 700C wheels with 38mm tyres, and even then they weren't very treaded, so they were a little bit slippy at times. So you will need some chunky tyres if you are going to do this. My original plan was to go around Wakefield, follow the trail to Methley, and then it's a really nice ride into the centre of Leeds where I was going to stay. I've been to Methley a few times before because there's an old railway there, I think it's called the Castleford Greenway, that runs between Castleford and Methley, and that's another old railway that's a really beautiful traffic-free route. So if you're wanting to do some cycling in and around this area, that's another thing you should check out if you're ever heading up that way. But as I got to Heath Kirkthorpe area, that's when I had the phone call from my mother-in-law, and I was only a few miles away from where they lived there. So I made the most of it,
Going on these bikepacking trips at least once, potentially twice every month can get quite expensive, so if there's ever the opportunity for me to get free accommodation, I'm all for it. So day 2, I headed across to Selby to rejoin the Trans Pennine Trail coastal route very briefly before heading up to York on the Solar System Way. Selby is part of the coast-to-coast route, but it kind of changes direction and goes across the river to Howden before heading out east to the coast if you're doing it west to east. But you can also cycle from Selby up to Balby, up to Rickle, and then from there it's basically a 10-mile traffic-free ex-railway again into the centre of York, and I mean literally you end up at the York racecourse. This is again a really nice route if you're wanting to do something slow, quiet, or with a family. When I say quiet, it's quiet because there's no traffic. It is actually a very busy route 9 times out of 10. I've done it a few times now, and every time I've been, it's always been very busy, but that's because it's a really lovely route. The Solar System Way is a really interesting place to cycle. There's loads of cool things to look at. I didn't have a chance to video them all because setting up the camera does take a long time, and there are quite a lot of them. Every single planet in the solar system, including a big model of the sun, is there, so you can have a look at them. There's a bit you can read. There's also satellite models and just interesting facts about the railway itself, so it is a really nice place to go if you just wanted to pootle along and do a bit of learning. So that was that. It wasn't a particularly long bikepacking trip, but day 1 was pretty hefty and day 2 was quite a nice, flat, easy way to end. Although I've done that section before, I wanted to highlight these interesting points of the Trans Pennine Trail because the Trans Pennine Trail is one of my favourite routes that I've done over the last few years. It's just got so much variety, and I feel that people will be missing out if they don't tackle these sections. Even if you haven't done the coast to coast, just worth bearing in mind, these sections are there and they are really great places to ride your bike. So that's that for another bikepacking film. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you did, and I'll see you in the next video.